So, you've decided to try entering the wonderful world of League of Legends, but have no clue what the heck is going on. Well, welcome to my introduction on the most brain-dead role in this game, support. Once you've created your account and gone through the most thoughtfully constructed tutorial in the history of video games, you might be unsure of how the game works, or what to do. When the tutorial asks for you to select your first champion, I'd suggest taking Lux, as she is very easy to learn and doesn't rely too much on your team actually having a brain. When you're starting off as a support, you should prepare yourself for failure, as League is not the easiest game to pick up.
Now I feel bad.
To start off, click on Play, then select either Co-op versus AI for an easier experience versus bots, or Quick Play to go up against real players if you're up for a challenge. If you choose Quick Play, then you need to select the support role as well as Lux or a different support of your choice. And for the second option, you should leave it as it is and pray to RNGesus that you don't get that lane, as I will not be teaching anything other than support in this video. You start off with summoner spells and runes locked, thank goodness, so you don't need to understand them at the moment. And with this, you're ready to enter your first game. But what's the goal of this league filled with legends? As you might have somehow managed to learn from that tutorial, the goal is to destroy the enemy's turrets and reach their nexus. But before that, how do you even move? Or fight?
Oh my god, stop bro, I'm stuck!
When you spawn in, click on the gold icon in the lower right hand corner to open the shop. Every time you're back at spawn, whether you die or recall, you should try and buy part of whatever items are recommended on the main page. If you click on them, they get broken down into components so you can buy them in smaller sections and don't need to buy it all at once. To start off, buy the recommended World Atlas, then use right click to head to the bottom lane. You can also right click on enemies or monsters to auto attack them. Once you get there, you might notice that you're getting some aggressive pings from the least toxic community on the planet. What minor mistake do you have made already that invokes their supreme anger? Well, probably the whiny jungler wants you to go and attack their big red hunk of junk. You should probably be a good support and oblige. Attack it for about, 6 seconds before getting bored, because who can stand there for that long, and heading back to lane. But wait! Who is this other person who has come to lane with you? This is what the community refers to as a bottom laner, or a bot laner for short. And they are a huge baby. Just like a baby, they will need to be taken care of, or they will cry. But why should you put in the effort of protecting this helpless infant from the enemy team? Well, you see, this infant has a Glock. If you manage to protect them, they will go on a killing spree and hopefully lead you to a happy win. No, I said a win. A win!
Victory!
Took it long enough. Jeez. But how do you protect your poor baby from an untimely death? Well, there, we split into the 3 main types of supports. First, there are enchanters, who protect by healing and shielding their allies, as well as buffing their damage. An easier one to start out with is Nami, who has a Q that you can throw to stun enemies, a W that bounces between you and enemies to heal you and hurt them, a buff to give to anyone who's around that makes them do extra damage, and your ultimate, which goes in a straight line and stuns every single enemy it hits. Next up are engaged supports, who run at the enemy and stop them from moving at all through stuns and other forms of crowd control, with no regard at all for their own life. A good one to start out with is Leona. Their Q stuns the next time you attack an enemy. Their W makes you way harder to kill. Their E dashes you to the furthest target hit and stuns them. And their ultimate is a huge stun in a big circle. And finally, the last sort of supports is mages, who figured that if everyone else is dead, there'll be no one left to kill their precious baby. For this category, I'll recommend Lux, who you can get from completing the first section of the tutorial, and is thus an excellent choice. Her Q roots enemies to one spot, so they can't run away as you batter them mercilessly. Her W shields her and any allies it hits so you are harder to kill. Her E is a giant circle that acts as a landmine as you can press it again to detonate it, and her ultimate is a giant laser that obliterates anyone it hits. One more advanced thing to note about Lux is that her auto attacks deal more damage after you hit someone with one of her abilities, thanks to her passive. Sometimes your baby is extra pissy and will choose to leave you alone and go do better things with their life. This is Not good. The best thing to do in this situation is to go choose someone else on your team as a new baby you can follow around and hope they're good enough to carry you to a win. While you should spend the majority of your match following around the bot laner and protecting them, as a support you do have two other responsibilities. For one, you have to place wards around everywhere, which you can place with the 4 key to help give your team vision. As you start out, place them in whatever bush you can, as you'll learn which spots are better as you progress. Your final responsibility is helping out with objectives. Every few minutes, a dragon will show up in this pit, indicated by a symbol on it, and if you see that someone on your team is trying to kill it, it's a good idea to head up and help them. So, now you have a rough idea of what your responsibilities are, but we've yet to talk about one of the key components of this game in depth: combat. A lot of combat just takes practice, but here are some good tips to start you out. If you're looking to fight the enemy, try to do so far away from their tower, as if you engage too close, you can get pulled under it and die to its damage. If you see a third person on your team come to bottom lane, then you should try and fight the enemy while you have the numbers advantage. And finally, while hitting your own abilities on the enemies is important, dodging what they throw at you matters just as much, so try not to stand still while you're in combat. With all that said, I wish you luck if you choose to enter into the chaotic mess that is League of Legends. And remember to buy items, help with Dragon, and place Vision to dominate the Rift and get your first victory.